What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about British things that confuse Americans. Today, I want to take a look at this Reddit discussion where someone asked, what are some British things that genuinely confuse you as an American? And I can completely relate to this question. There are so many things about British culture that are just strange and confusing to us Americans. So I thought it would be very fun to check out some of the top answers in this discussion and hopefully get some sort of answers and explanation to some of the strange, crazy things going on in Britain, at least from my American point of view. They are strange and different, but I guess completely normal if you are British. So let's check out some British things that really do confuse Americans like myself, starting with they get angry at us not using metric, but still celebrate drinking pints in pubs. What's that all about? Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah. This wait. I've literally never thought about this. Yeah, well, let me set the record straight. I think America does deserve some criticism over using the imperial measurement system that we do. It really makes no sense at all, and I'm willing to admit that. I think most Americans are willing to rationalize on that and be like, okay, the metric system is objectively better. And I don't know why we don't use it. But, if you're going to criticize us Americans for not using metric, what's with the pints? In pubs, don't you order drinks in pints? Isn't a pint, isn't that's not a metric unit, right? I actually want to look this up. Pint, imperial. Imperial? Yeah. Yes, this is definitely, yeah, here we go, here we go. Pint, what? Wait, what? Pint unit of capacity in the British Imperial? Yeah, and US customary systems of measurement. Is the US pint the same as a UK pint? Wait, could the pints be different? This is, oh my gosh, this video is already leading up. It's already living up to its promises. I am confused. The Imperial pint contains 20 British fluid ounces? The American pint contains 16 US fluid ounces. What? Wait, what? Stop. Hold on. The British Imperial pint is 20% larger than the American pint? The two systems are defined differently? So British people drink pints, but it's still not the American measurement system, what I refer to as the American Imperial Measurement System. But it's also not the metric system. It's some kind of British pipe? British pint? I can't even speak. Is this true? Also, what is a stone? Yeah, yeah. I feel like I am amongst my people right now. This is hilarious. And what's a stone? So, this is kind of like half and half. It's not metric, but it's not American. It's like a British pint that you get in a British pub. Is this true? I've never heard of that before. That's what Google's telling me. I have no idea what a stone is. Let's keep going. British things that confuse Americans. My brain is going to be totally fried by the end of this. That's okay. Those awful Christmas songs by comedians. Huh? I know they're for a charity, but still. Christmas songs? Do British artists do Christmas songs? Oh, comedians. British comedians do Christmas songs for charity? I have to admit, I've actually never heard of this before. I think this is Americans commenting here. So apparently Britain does comedian Christmas songs. And that confuses me now that I'm aware of it for the first time. That does confuse me. I mean, if it's for charity, Good. I mean, good. Great. I don't know what charity, but what? X Factor and Pop Idol basically ruined an important pop culture milestone. So the population revolted to shun them, and we got weird comedy songs as a result. Really? I am learning things about British culture today. Brexit. Yes, this is definitely a British thing that confuses Americans. Most of us don't even understand what this is, why it matters, why you exited it, Brexited it. Y'all opted out of the euro so the EU couldn't twist your arm with monetary policy. Why not just opt out of open borders and unrestricted immigration? You live on an island. What? What? I have no idea what we're talking about. Couldn't tell you. And I think I'm representative of most Americans. I actually think most Americans don't know what Brexit is, and a fair amount of Americans have never even heard of Brexit. Um, this is where Britain exited the European Union? Is that right? Anyway, that's I think that's what it is. Oh, I can just look it up actually. Get some clarification. Brexit was the withdrawal of the UK from the European Union. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I think most Americans have absolutely no clue what that means. I just read the definition and I barely understand what it means. That's Feel free to leave a comment trying to explain any of these British things that confuse Americans like myself, because I'm not entirely convinced that I'm going to get the answers in this discussion, even with my rudimentary Googling ability. British things that confuse Americans. Pudding! Yes! Yes! What is pudding? And what isn't pudding? Yes! Yes! I was doing a video, like, not that long ago, learning about British foods. And one of them that was very popular was Yorkshire pudding. And Yorkshire pudding doesn't look like pudding to me. Does not look like what Americans think of pudding. So in America, we have a pretty defined, like, I don't know. Let me look up pudding. let me let me look up pudding. Why not? This is what Americans visualize when we think of pudding. In a cup or a bowl, usually chocolate like this, semi-solid, sort of gelatinous, tasty goo that you eat with a spoon. But in Britain, pudding means something else. Maybe I could actually look this up too. Pudding UK definition. Yeah, here we go. What is this? In the United Kingdom and some of the Commonwealth countries, the word pudding can be used to describe both sweet and savory dishes. And savory. That doesn't make any sense for us Americans. However, the term in everyday usage denotes a dessert. In the UK, pudding is a synonym for a dessert course. And I think this is like haggis. What? This this does not this does not clear it up for me. I'm still very confused what pudding is. Pudding is a dish of homely or rustic? What? What what is the definition of pudding in the UK? Is it just any sweet or savory dish? That's far too broad, right? That's way too broad. Like in America, not to keep banging you over the head with this, but pudding always means this semi-solid goo that you eat out of a cup. That's what it always means. But in the UK, like I looked at Yorkshire pudding, and it looks like a muffin or a baked good. And the Googling definition there didn't really clear much up for me. What is pudding defined as in the UK? Is it just very, very broad? Or, like, I don't know. I never thought pudding would be so confusing to me, but it really is. Which is perfect for the theme of this video. British things that confuse Americans. What else do we have? I'm Canadian. One of my friends who is British, I called them a wanker as a joke, but he actually got super offended. Really? I actually understand what this Canadian person is saying. I thought wanker was like, is it that serious? I thought it was like, oh, you stupid, you moron. Ha ha ha. You're like joking around with your friend. Or if they've done something silly. Is wanker, if you call someone that word, is it bad? Is it like that's confrontation? Those are fighting words. So this Brit actually got super offended. What a wanker. Right, maybe they just were being too sensitive. Don't Brits kind of like do the banter, kind of mean to each other to show that you love each other anyway? Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say here is I don't really understand how bad of a word wanker is. It's one of those British words that most Americans have heard on TV or in movies, and it sounds, it's a funny word to us. It's a funny sounding word. So I actually didn't think it was that serious, but maybe it is more than I thought. Um, ZZ Top, ZZ Top. I know that in Britain you say Z instead of Z, so we're saying ZZ Top. What does that mean? I am in Canada. I own a record store. I make a point of calling them ZZ Top. I find amusement where I can. Do I have to look up ZZ Top? It's a rock band? It's a rock band. is, is this the answer? It's an American rock band I'm seeing here. I've actually never really heard of them. ZZ Top. But you could call them ZZ Top if you're a Canadian or British fan, apparently. Oh man. Okay. Yes. And also, on this note, it is true that just the existence of Z over saying Z does confuse us Americans as well. And I didn't even know that was a thing till way into my adult life. A lot of Americans don't know that outside of America, a lot of people say Z. Z, imagine. Okay, what are some other British things that confuse Americans? Invading every country with spices and good food, and then turning out fish and chips. This person doesn't like fish and chips. This person thinks fish and chips is bad. So they're saying, okay, Britain, you invaded, excuse me, invaded lots of countries with good food, but you only came up with fish and chips. Is this really like hating on fish and chips? Really? Uh, which I know is a very very popular dish in the UK, right? Um, why the hate on the fish and chips? Shepherd's pie, Cornish pasty, beef Wellington, Yorkshire pudding, bangers and mash, steak and kidney pie. Have you ever actually eaten British food? It's delicious. Okay, so here's a bunch of examples. Yeah, Britain has come up with lots of foods, British cultural food staples. This is a good list. This person was being very negative. They're like, "Hey, Britain, come up with some good food other than fish and chips." And it's like, "Yeah, you got all this stuff actually. I'm not sure what bangers and mash is, but I'm sure it's good." Question mark? Clearly you forgot the curry sauce on your fish and chips. Is this a thing? I don't know anything about fish and chips. I've never had fish and chips. It's not really a dish that they offer here in America. Do Brits put curry sauce on it? Really? Isn't that sort of like an Indian food, actually? Interesting. Why do you guys say lieutenant instead of, okay, so we're talking about the word that we pronounce lieutenant. Lieutenant. And I have heard this one before. And when I first heard it in a movie, like a war movie, I was very very confused. Because lieutenant, because it sounds like you're saying left, as in the direction left, and tenant, which means like someone who rents out a property. Lieutenant is so different from how we say lieutenant. It's actually pretty entertaining to me. Lieutenant. Yeah, isn't it spelled like... How is it spelled? Yeah, here we go. Lieutenant. That's how it's spelled, right? L-I-E-U. Lou. L-I-E-U-T. Lou. How do you construe that as pronouncing it as left? I mean, here is this the American pronunciation, lieutenant. How do you get left out of this word? I'm trying to like give some benefit of the doubt to the British pronunciation. I am actually curious myself. How do you pronounce that left tenant? It's not even really spelled that way, or am I missing something? I get not trying to sound French, but you don't even spell it with an F. Right, how is it left with an F sound? There's no F in the word. How did that sound? Wait till you find out how we pronounce the name Saint John. How do you pronounce that? I'm very curious now. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more here before my brain completely goes. British things that confuse Americans. He weighs 35 stone. Okay, is that like good or bad? Exactly, I have no idea. I have no freaking clue. An American wrote this for sure. He weighs 35 stone. What is 35 stone? Okay, let's take a look here. 35 stone makes 490 pounds? If you're 35 stone, you're practically dead. Like, you're in serious trouble. See, this is the perfect example. I had no idea 35 stone, that's ridiculous for a person's body weight. I had no frame of reference. Okay. He weighs 35 stone. Now I get it. I was like, so what? Is that good or bad? That's very bad. That's almost 500 pounds. Yeah, I did not know that. I actually had no idea, no reference for what a stone means. So that's actually good right there. What else? The first time I flew into the UK as an American was the first time I flew internationally. I was blearily reading the signs to see where I needed to go, and a member of staff asked me, "Can I help you, love?" I was so confused, almost offended. I don't know him, but he's calling me love. I definitely don't love him. What's going on? Now I'm very used to being called love duck. Pedal? I've never heard duck or pedal. I've heard of love before. Like, that's a very lovely British thing to say, by the way. Calling someone love. That'd feel good. Maybe a little, that'd be a bit extreme here in America. That would be a bit extreme. Unless it's like a sweet old lady at the grocery store calling you love. That's okay, but otherwise that's quite extreme here in America. People are gonna interpret that in a strange way. If you call someone a duck or a pedal, I wouldn't know whether to be complimented or offended, really. I've never heard that. And all sorts of terms of endearment. But my first experience sticks out in my mind. I didn't know about that. That's kind of a nice thing about the UK. If people do indeed do these sort of fun names. I like that. Actually. And with that, I think I can understand that one. Maybe that's a good place to stop. Because I have been genuinely confused this entire video. Which makes sense. But I think I also learned and cleared up a few things. A few of the questions that I had about British culture that used to confuse me. Now I'm just kind of confused, which is an improvement. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment with your thoughts, and your explanation would be very helpful of any of these British things that confuse Americans like me. That'd be great. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain and British culture and stuff about Britain I've never seen or learned before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.